This video is required for everyone. Students that need to retake the inferencing and also context clues assessments. This is your reteach. Some of you are going to be working with me in the video, and some of you will be doing that on your own. So let's get started. Tales of the Great. So when I read this, I'm always trying to make connections, trying to think about words that I don't know, and preparing for those questions that might ask me about those words. So always try to do that before you get to the questions. Tales of great white sharks have been told all over the world. So here, tales. I know that they use the word tales. This is not like a tale, like an animal tale. This is a story. It's bad. One of the most capable predators known to man swims beneath the ocean water with amazing grace and dominance. So they're graceful, very smooth. How can something be so striking yet so dangerous? The great whites have significant characteristics and behaviors that separate them from any other creature in the sea. One reason the creatures are unique is due to their features. So here they're probably going to talk about their physical features, right? This large predatory shark reaches lengths of up to 20 feet and weighs 5,000 pounds. So long and heavy. Although the sharks are large, they navigate through the ocean water skillfully. Even though they're big animals, they are really good swimmers. Great whites have excellent vision, so good eyes that allows them to hunt. They also have so they're able to see the prey. They also have unique ability to roll their eyes back into their sockets just before the attack for protection, so they're able to like move their eyes back. In addition, great whites have a distinct sense of smell, so they're great smellers. Great whites will lift their heads above water to smell for their prey. I guess they also eat birds then. In addition, telling traits of their habitat. An additional telling trait is their habitat, so where they live. Although great whites can be found in unusual places maybe sometimes like a river or close to the beach. They generally live in temperate oceans. Temperate means areas that are warmer, so this area here in the middle. Okay. They avoid waters that is extreme, so extreme hot or extreme cold, living in water that ranges from 50 to 70 degrees. Polar, so the top parts, they don't really like going up there because it's too cold for them. So anything in pink. Okay. They avoid waters extreme, living in waters that ranges from 50 to 70. Polar and tropical regions rarely have the pleasure of meeting the great whites. However, some have been known to travel as far as Alaska, north as Alaska. So Alaska's up here. Even though scientists are still learning about the great whites, their behaviors are very habitual. So they kind of do the same thing. These sharks mostly travel and hunt alone. However, they have been known to hunt in pairs. Another interesting behavior of the sharks is their constant movement, which is significant for several reasons. They are constantly moving around. One being that while they swim, oxygenated water is pushed into their gills. So they need to breathe, right? And this water has oxygen. And they constantly have to have this oxygen in their gills. Another reason is that being that they are constantly searching for their prey, so they're constantly trying to eat. Tales of great white sharks will be told throughout time. These fierce creatures will continue to mystify as they roam the ocean waters. Their behaviors, habitat, and features will remain significant only to great whites. Which textual evidence best supports the inference that great white's body helps it successfully hunt? So which evidence shows how the body helps it hunt? Now, this one, they do talk about gills, but it doesn't actually show how it helps them hunt. The word is, you have to figure out the word, how does it help them hunt? Now, this one seems like an interesting answer because it looks like when they hunt, they roll their eyes back, right? So they're not harmed. But this is actually talking about how they are protected. It doesn't actually talk about how they hunt. It doesn't actually say how their eyes help them hunt. It just says what they do when they are hunting. The best, so this one can weigh up to 5,000 pounds and grow up to 20 feet. This one doesn't talk about hunting at all. It just talks about a physical characteristic. The best answer is this one. It can see the prey and it can smell the prey. So that's why B is the best answer. The author infers that great whites have the ability to that no one might expect. Which sentence from the text best supports this inference? So when we see a great white, we don't expect it uh, to be such a good swimmer or a good predator. Why is that, right? The author infers that the great white shark has the ability that no one might expect. Which sentence from the text best supports this answer? Um, the great whites have significant characteristics and behaviors that separate. It doesn't talk about abilities here. Although the sharks are large, they navigate through the ocean. So the answer is this one. The author infers the great white shark has abilities no one might expect. Which sentence from the text best supports this inference? Although the sharks, because they're so large. Because they're so large. Okay. The other ones don't. Although the great whites can be found in unusual places, this is talking about where they live, and this talks about why they're interesting to people or mystify people. Now let's do this one. Again, this video is going to be quite long, and if you don't finish it on Monday, we'll continue working it on Tuesday in class. It's not homework. The Palm Islands. The Palm Islands in Dubai are some of the most amazing man-made wonders of the world. The three Palm Islands consist of the Palm Jumeirah, Palm Jebel Ali, and Palm Deira, which are built on the coast of the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, UAE. They were formed in the shape of a date palm because of the ideal shape for creating maximum beachfronts. If I have time, I'll show you guys this one in class. This immense project constructed by these people, Nikhil Properties, began in June 2001. The artificial, so they're man-made, will be built with roads, electricity, sewage, phone lines, water, as well as other major commercial and residential infrastructure. So it is literally creating land on the ocean, and the homes are multi-million-dollar homes. Why they were built? The Sheikh of Dubai, the leader of Dubai, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, wanted to eliminate Dubai's reliance on their dwindling oil supplies. So this area produces a lot of oil, but eventually that's going to run out. His reason, his reason for creating the islands was to develop a way to make money for the small desert state. So this area is pretty deserty. It's a lot of desert, and they want to make sure that they have other ways to make money. The Sheikh commissioned the islands in order to increase Dubai's tourism, so he wants people to visit. Many people thought the Sheikh had bit more off than he can chew. That's an idiom. That means that his plan, he wanted to do something that was not possible. But the Sheikh was set to prove them wrong. Construction. The Palm Jumeirah was the first and smallest of the three islands, consisting of a trunk, a crown with 17 fronds, and an island in the shape of a crescent to form the breakwater. In order to build this island out of the deep ocean waters, they used 94 million cubic meters of sand over 70 million tons of rocks. Around 40,000 South Asian workers were employed in order to build this enormous island. The completion of the island was finished on time, but the construction of the island is still underway. Shortly after the first island started to be built, the Palm Jebel Ali began construction in 2002, so 22 years ago. The island will be 50% bigger than Jumeirah, set apart from the first island. Jebel Ali is said to be more of an entertainment island. This enormous island will have a water theme park, 6 marinas, boardwalks that circle the fronds of the palm, as well as other types of the divertiments. I'm guessing this looks like something that's going to be fun for people. The future plans of the island also includes 4 theme parks that will be built on the island's crescent and will form into the shape of a whale. The third and most massive island, Palm Deira, began construction in 2017. The island will be 8 times larger than Jumeirah and will not be completed until 2015. It has been said that it will be larger than the entire city of Paris. Looking ahead, today most of the islands are still vacant, so not people don't live there. However, the Sheikh hopes that they will soon be filled with tourists and residents. Nikhil, the builder, believes that the 3 islands will house over 1 million residents. The creation of the Palm Islands is an unparalleled achievement in engineering, and when completed, will be the most amazing project known to man. So let's look at some of these questions. Which sentence from the text best supports the inference that the islands will be a vacation destination? So area where tourists are gonna go. So which of these supports that people will want to visit this? They were formed in the shape of a date palm because of the ideal shape of creating maximum beachfront. This doesn't talk about tourism at all. In order to build this island of deep ocean waves, of deep ocean waters, they used 94 million cubes. So this is talking about what they used to build it. This enormous island will have water themed parks, 6 marinas, boardwalks that circle the fronds and the palms, and well as other types of diversions. So this one, people are gonna want to visit those things. People want to see this. People want to see this. People want to see the boardwalk and this one. So it's said that it will be larger than the entire city of Paris. That doesn't actually talk about tourism at all. The reader can infer the central idea of the article is that Palm Islands are so impressive that they are worth visiting. Which statement from the text best supports this inference? So if you make an inference that, yes, it looks like they're, wow, people are going to want to visit this. Which evidence supports that? The Sheikh commissioned the island in order to increase Dubai's tourism. Okay. This enormous island will have a water park, 6 marinas, boardwalks that circle the fronds. Today, most of the islands are still vacant. The creation of Palm Islands is an unparalleled achievement in engineering and when completed with the most amazing project known to man. So this one is going to be this one, right? The reader can infer that the central idea of the article is going to be that it's impressive. Here, they tell you how impressive it's going to be and how people want to visit it. Okay. Which sentence from the text best infers that the sheikh believes that the islands will help Dubai financially? So people can say that the islands are going to help the country of Dubai financially. Which evidence supports this? So let's look at D. Today, the most of the islands are vacant. However, the sheikh hopes that they will soon be filled with tourists and residents. Which sentence best infers that the sheikh believes the islands? So, I mean, this one could be an option, but let's look at the other ones. Many people thought that the sheikh had bid more than they could chew, but the sheikh was okay. The reason for getting so the islands were made to help financially, and the best option for that one's going to be it's going to be this one. His reason for creating the island was to develop way to make money for the small desert state. Let's move on. Which sentence from the text best implies that the sheikh believes the islands will help financially? Didn't I do that one already? Oh, this is which sentence from the text best infers the sheikh. Oh, this is the implied. Let's skip this one for now. All right, now we have these. In a small town in Mexico, people celebrate Dia del Rio, a local tradition where families gather to clean the nearby river and celebrate their heritage. This tradition started decades ago, when the town's elders, the older people, noticed that the river, once clear and full of fish, was becoming polluted. They knew the river was essential to their community, not only for water and food, but also for the symbol of life and culture. So they were using the river for water to drink, the fish, and also for a symbol of life. Maria, a young girl, grew up hearing stories from her abuela about the river's importance. Abuela means grandma. Without the river, this town wouldn't exist, her abuela would say. Every year, Maria participated in Dia del Rio by helping organize activities. She invites people from neighboring towns, teaches children how to care for the environment, and remind everyone that protecting the river is part of their shared responsibility. Over time, other towns in the region joined the movement. Together, they created a large network that educates people on the dangers of pollution and the importance of preserving natural resources. For Maria and her town, Dia del Rio is more than just a day of service. It is a reminder that their heritage and future for Maria and her town, Dia del Rio is more than just a day of service. It is a reminder that their heritage and future are intertwined with the health of the river. Which inference can be made about why Maria organizes the activities for Del Rio? So Maria is that young girl that sets up these activities for Dia del Rio. She believes it is important tradition to keep alive. She thinks that towns should compete with other neighboring towns. I don't think that's the case, right? Like, I don't think that she does it to compete. She wants to gain recognition for her efforts. Do you think that that's why she does it? She is the only one who knows how to organize events. Do you think she's the only one? No. She believes it is important tradition to keep alive. What can you infer about the elders' decision to start Dia del Rio? So what can you infer about the old people that decided to start Dia del Rio? What can you infer about them? They wanted to protect valuable resources for the community. They wanted to gather people to have fun and celebrate the holiday. I don't think that's what they did it. It looks like they did it because they saw an issue, right? They needed to fix a problem caused by pollution. They wanted to teach children how to fish. Nowhere here does it talk about teaching kids how to fish, so it's not that one. So let's look at A. They wanted to protect a valuable resource in the community, or they wanted to fix a problem that they caused with pollution. They wanted to protect valuable resources in the community. So let's go back. In a small town in Mexico, people celebrate El Rio, a local tradition where families gather to clean the nearby river and celebrate their heritage. This tradition started decades ago when the town's elders noticed that the river, once clear of full fish, was becoming polluted. They knew the river was essential for community, not only for water, but as a symbol of life and food. So let's go back. I think it could be A or C, but I think that they're mainly it's because they saw pollution in the river. I think it's C. So if I had to pick one, I pick C because of that. Why do you think other towns decided to join Maria's movement? So why did other towns decide to also do this protecting of the river? They saw the benefits of keeping their rivers clean and share resources. They wanted to create a friendly rivalry with Maria's town. Is that what they do? They because they want to compete with her town? No. They were impressed with Maria's leadership skills. I don't think that that's what they did it. I don't think Maria has done anything to do with other people joining. They had extra resources needed to help other towns. It doesn't say they had extra resources. I think it's because they also see the river and the river's part of their life. So I think it's A because of that reason. They saw the benefits of keeping the river clean and share resources. What inference can you make about the future of Dia del Rio? So what can you infer about what's going to happen about this day when people are cleaning the rivers? It will continue to grow as more people understand the importance of protecting natural resources. It will likely stop as soon as the river is completely clean. I don't think they're gonna stop it because I think it's like a thing they do every year, like a cultural thing. It'll become a national holiday organized by the government. I don't think it's going to become a national holiday because not not everyone lives close to the river, so why would they do that? It'll be replaced by other environmental movements. It doesn't you can't make that inference based on this because it's only talking about that day. It will continue to grow. I think that other people will join. What does the word polluted mean? Most likely mean in the passage. So here they talked about. It says polluted. I'm gonna highlight it. The tradition started decades ago when the town's elders noted that the river, once clean and full of fish, was becoming polluted. So now, this is the opposite of once clean. So they're opposite. They give you an antonym. So it sounds like it's not clean anymore and it doesn't have a lot of fish anymore. So let's see what the options are. What is the word polluted? No, so it's the opposite of full of fish or clean. So it's going to be, so it's not full of fish. It's not used for celebrations because that has nothing to do with being clean or full of fish. And it's not healthy or clean because it's polluted, is the opposite. So in this case, it will be contaminated and dirty. What does the word heritage mean in the sentence? For Maria and her town, Dia del Rio is more than just a day of service, so just beyond one day. It is a reminder that their heritage and future are intertwined. So they are here. The future is here. So what comes before? Their heritage is the past. So in this case, it's going to be a town's daily routines? No. An individual's personal story? No. A problem with pollution? No. It's going to be a family's tradition and customs. It's what comes before. what comes before, and then the future, what comes after. What does the word network mean? Most likely mean in the sentence. Together, they create a large network that educates people on the dangers of pollution. So in this case, network means a group of people, right? There's one person, they create a network with this person, they talk about it, they talk about it, they talk about it, they do something about it. So this whole thing is one network, a group of connected people and communities, right? Together, they created a group of connected people and communities that educates people on the dangers of pollution. What does the word intertwine mean in the sentence? Their heritage and future are intertwined. Their past, their present, and their future are combined, intertwined with the health of the river. So your community is if your community is healthy, that means that the river is healthy. If the river is unhealthy and polluted, that means that your community is unhealthy. So they are mixed closely together. They are mixed closely together. If you're okay, so the next one is the creation of the terrace rice fields in Asia. For centuries, hundreds of years, terrace rice fields have been a symbol of Asian agriculture ingenuity. So for centuries, hundreds of years, terrace rice fields have been a symbol of Asian agriculture and ingenuity. Agriculture is like growing crops, growing food, plants. These intricate landscapes are found in countries like China, Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Farmers in mountainous regions carve out steps. So imagine this is a mountain. Imagine this is a mountain. You have a mountain. Right? What they do is they carve out areas. They carve out areas that are flat. Regions carve out steps on terraces from the hillsides to grow rice. This method of farming allows them to use land that would otherwise be too steep for agriculture. The terraces trap water, so when it rains, the water doesn't just run down, it actually traps it in the terrace. Again, terraces are flat areas like this, like steps. The terraces trap water, creating small controlled wetlands where rice can flourish. By developing this system, farmers could grow enough rice to feed their families and communities, even on the most rugged terrains. So again, I'll read that again. By developing the system, farmers could grow enough rice to feed their families and communities, even in the most rugged terrain. So think about rugged. Terracing not only help improve food production, but also protect the environment from soil erosion. So if the land looks like this, what they do is they make these little steps. One of the most famous terrace fields is in China's I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Longji rice terraces, also called the dragon's backbone, for the way the terraces curved around the mountain. These terraces have been cultivated or grown on for over 600 years and attract tourists from all over the world. Farmers work on these terraces year-round, but the most spectacular time to visit is during the growing season, when the fields are flooded. The mirror water reflects the sky, making the terraces look like a series of giant steps rising towards the heaven. Besides their agricultural significance, terrace fields play an important cultural role. In many Asian countries, festivals and rituals are centered around the rice planting season. In Bali, Indonesia, the Subak irrigation system, which waters the terraces, is not just a farming technique but a tradition that reflects the Balinese philosophy of harmony between people, nature, and gods. The cooperation required for maintaining the terraces has brought communities together for centuries. Families often work together to plant, maintain, and harvest the rice, making it not just a farming activity but a social and cultural practice that strengthens community bonds. Terrace rice fields are also an example of sustainable agriculture. Sustainable means that it can be done over and over again. By using this method, farmers ensure that water is used efficiently or well, and the environment remains protected. The landscape is shaped in a way that prevents landslides, So that when you have these steps, right, it's harder for landslides to happen because these steps keep the water the terrain from falling down. And conserve water, demonstrating how humans and nature can coexist in balance. Today, the challenge lies in preserving these ancient systems as modernization and climate change threatens traditional farming practices. So let's go over these questions. What is one of the main reasons why terrace rice fields were developed in Asia? So why is one of the reasons why these fields were developed in Asia? To make rice farming easier in flat areas, to use land that would otherwise be unusable, to create more tourist attractions, to reduce the need for rice imports. So some of you guys see D and you're like, I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna pick it. If you don't know what it means, then don't pick it. To reduce the need for rice imports simply means to buy less rice uh, from other countries, and they never talked about that. To make rice farming easier in flat areas. They never talked about flat areas. They're talking about mountains and how they created these steps, these flat areas on the mountain to be able to grow rice. Otherwise, it would be really hard. Then the best answer is this one, B. To use land that would otherwise be unusable, right? They have to create these terraces. What evidence from the text supports this inference? Farmers in mountainous regions carved out steps on terraces from the hillsides to grow rice. The terraces trap water, creating a small controlled wetland. Farmers work on these terraces year round. Terrace rice fields are also an example of sustainable agriculture. The best option here, they all seem fine, right? To use land that would otherwise be unusable, you have to talk about the mountains in this case. So the answer is A. Farmers in mountainous regions carved out steps to grow rice. Why might the Longji rice terraces be considered important cultural in China? So let's go back to the Longji rice terraces. I think they were here somewhere. Here they are. One of the most famous terraces fields is China's Longji rice terraces, also called the dragon's backbone, for the way the terraces curve around the mountain. These terraces have been cultivated, so they're really old and it looks like they're really pretty, and they also attract tourism. Farmers work on these terraces year round, but most spectacular time to visit is during the growing season. The mirror water reflects the sky, making the terraces look like a series of giant steps rising towards the heavens. So let's see what the options are. Because they were built by tourists? No. Tourists liked going there because they're a popular place to relax. It doesn't talk about relaxing. Because they reflect the skill and effort for generations of farmers, because they're no longer being used. So they are still being used by farming. So here, it's this one. It's really, really old as well. And then for the evidence, what evidence supports that the terraces have been cultivated for 600 years? So again, really old. And here actually tells you how old they are. Okay. How does the Subak system in Bali show that farming is more than just a way of life, a way of to grow food? So let's go back to the ones in Bali. Besides their agricultural significance, terrace fields play an important cultural role in many Asian countries. Festivals and rituals are centered around the rice planting season. In Bali, Indonesia, the Subak irrigation system, which waters the terraces, is not just a farming technique, it is a traditional that reflects the Balinese philosophy of harmony between people, nature, and gods. The cooperation required for maintaining the terraces has brought communities together for centuries. People need to work together. Families often work together to plant, maintain, and harvest the rice. So the big idea is that people work together to work on the terraces. So let's see what the options are. How does the Subak system of Bali show that farming is more than just a way to grow food? It demonstrates how important tourism is. It doesn't talk about tourism. It reflects the philosophy and spiritual value of people. It shows the water abundant. It doesn't talk about how much water there is. It helps create a more modern way of farming. It doesn't talk about that either. The answer is this one. Okay, spiritual value of the people. So this one, the Subak irrigation system is not just a farming technique but a tradition. The cooperation required to maintain the terraces also brought communities together. Farmers will grow enough rice to feed the families. Not this one. Has nothing to do with the philosophy of spiritual value of people. It prevents, if it doesn't talk about landslides. The Sabaka region is not just a farming technique, but a tradition. I think that this is a hard one. I think it's going to be obviously A or B. It reflects the philosophy and spiritual value of the people. I think it's gonna be A. I think it's gonna be A, because here you're talking about traditions, like their beliefs, and I think that has to do with that. I think that's the correct answer. Which challenges is mentioned regarding the future of terrace farming? So they talk about some challenges, right? Farmers are abandoning them because they are outdated. It doesn't talk about that. Modernization and climate change. This is a right there. This is not an inference question at all. If you look at the reading, it says, today, the challenges lies in preserving these ancient systems as modernization and climate change. So this is not an inference. This is a right there answer. Modernization and climate change. What evidence from the text? So again, they're going to talk about modernization. The terraces look like this series. Nope, not that one. Farmers ensure the waters. Nope. Challenge lies in preserving the. It's going to be this one. Preserving the ancient system because of those new things. Context clues. What does the word rugged mean as used in the sentence? By developing these systems, farmers could grow enough rice to feed their families and communities, even on rugged terrains. Even. So here's the opposite, right? The opposite of easy terrain is going to be rugged terrain. People are used to growing on flatlands, but remember, it's mountain, it's rugged terrain. So in this case, it's not flat, it's not easy to walk on, it's not full of water because it rains, but the water drains down. The answer is going to be steep and rough because of the mountain. What does the word cultivated most likely mean in the sentence? These terraces have been cultivated for over 600 years. These terraces have been cultivated. So again, these terraces are these areas that are flat. So what is it that they're doing on this land? Not abandoning them, not discovering them, not being protected by law, because how would that make sense? It's growing and maintained, growing plants on them. What does the word cooperation mean in the sentence? The cooperation required to maintain the terraces has brought communities together. So if communities come together, here's one community, another community, another community, another community. If you bring communities together, that means that you're kind of combining them, right? Or working together. So they're not staying apart. They're not making new laws or spending money. They are working together. What does the word sustainable most likely mean in the sentence? Terrace farming fields are also an example of sustainable agriculture. This is a hard one because I don't think they give you enough context clue. But you can eliminate some of them, right? In this case, these terraces are really old. So they're not modern and new. They're not harmful. And because they're really old, they're not temporary. Temporary means they're new. So this means long lasting and environmentally friendly. Sustainable means it's good for the environment and it's been used for a long time. We have one more passage. The legend of El Cadejo. The legend of El Cadejo. In many parts of Central America, including El Salvador and Mexico, the story of El Cadejo has been passed down for generations. So from parent to son to grandson and so forth. So it's a really old stories. This legendary creature is said to appear on lonely roads at night, guiding or protecting travelers. According to the tale, there are two forms of El Cadejo. The good Cadejo, a white dog that watches over those who travel at night, and the bad Cadejo, so a black dog that brings harm. People believe that the white Cadejo follows peaceful travelers, ensuring they reach their destination safely. In contrast and opposite, the black Cadejo is said to hunt those who have bad intentions, leading them to misfortune. This sounds like a negative thing, right? You are a bad person, misfortune. The legend has different versions depending on where you hear it. In El Salvador, some say that El Cadejo appears near mountains or dark forests, waiting for those who are lost. In Mexico, the story is often told by elders, the older people, warning young people not to venture out at night. While many see the tale as just a myth, make pretend, others claim to have seen El Cadejo themselves, hearing its footsteps in the distance or feeling its presence when they travel alone in the dark. The legend of El Cadejo reflects the values of protecting the innocents and punishing those who stray from the righteous path. So here, they're going to give you the opposite, the innocents and those who stray from the righteous path. So that means those that do bad deeds. It teaches a lesson about how our actions determine the kind of help or harm we receive in life. Based on the passage, what might be the main purpose of the legend in El Cadejo? So based on this passage, what do you think is the purpose of this legend? To scare people away from traveling? To encourage people to be cautious at night? To show how people feel about dogs? This has nothing to do about dogs. To explain how to get home safely? No. Based on the passage, what might be the main purpose of El Cadejo? I don't think the purpose is to scare people from traveling, because it doesn't really talk about traveling when, right? I think it has to do with to encourage people to be cautious at night. I think there's other purposes, but in this case, this is the best answer. What inference can you make about El Cadejo's role in Central American culture? So what inference can you make about this story in the culture of Central America and Mexico? El Cadejo represents a reminder to always do good deeds. El Cadejo is seen as a symbol of fear and punishment only. People believe El Cadejo is a real creature that attacks everyone. El Cadejo is a symbol of luck for travelers. Not necessarily, because there's a bad Cadejo. Some people say that it's true, but here it says people believe that El Cadejo is a real creature. And that is not an inference, because it actually tells you that. Some people believe that El Cadejo is a real thing. And that's not an inference, so that you have to eliminate that one. El Cadejo is seen as a symbol of fear and punishment only. That's not true, because they actually talk about how it protects you. So El Cadejo represents a reminder to always good deeds, because he might appear. The good Cadejo might appear, or the bad Cadejo might appear. Which sentence from the passage best supports the inference that El Cadejo serves as a reminder to do good deeds? So which of these evidence supports the inference that El Cadejo serves as a reminder of good deed? So remember, an inference is a statement that can be supported by the text. It is not, an inference is not directly a text. For example, an inference cannot be, people believe El Cadejo. That's not an inference, because that's actually in the text somewhere, right? So again, which sentence from the passage best supports the inference that El Cadejo serves as a reminder to do good deeds? So let's start with D. The legend of El Cadejo reflects the values of protecting the innocents. In Mexico, the story is often told by elders warning young people not to travel at night. So let's eliminate that one, because that one has nothing to do with deeds, or deeds means actions, right? Good actions or bad actions. The black Cadejo is said to hunt those who have bad intentions, leading them to misfortune. There are two forms of Cadejo, the good Cadejo and the bad Cadejo. So it's going to be either between B and D. So let's go over B and D. The black Cadejo, so the inference is, which sentence from the passage best supports the inference that El Cadejo serves as a reminder to do good deeds? The black Cadejo is said to hunt those who have bad intentions, leading them to misfortune. And the legend of El Cadejo reflects the values of protecting the innocents. So in this case, I believe it's B. Because if you don't do something good, you're going to have misfortune. You're going to have bad luck, or something's going to happen to you. What does the phrase stay from a righteous path mean as used in the text? What does the phrase stray from a righteous path mean as used in the text? So let's find that stray from the righteous path. It's here somewhere. I know it is. The legend of El Cadejo reflects the values of protecting the innocents and punishing those who stray from the righteous path. So what's the opposite of innocent people? The people that make bad choices. So let's look at it. What does the phrase stray from the righteous path mean? To take the wrong road? No. It's behaviors, actions. To forget what you're going, to make bad choices. Yes. So they give you the opposite. How does the author use the legend of El Cadejo to explain cultural beliefs? The author describes El Cadejo as a common myth shared across different cultures. The author explains how El Cadejo's actions reflect the importance of morality. The author shows that El Cadejo is only meant to scare children. The author suggests El Cadejo is a harmless creature. So the question says, how does the author use the legend of El Cadejo to explain cultural beliefs? So let's eliminate some of them. Again, some of these questions are going to be hard. I get it. The best thing you can do is eliminate some of them. It doesn't talk about, the author suggests El Cadejo is a harmless creature. They do mention that, but that has nothing to do with cultural beliefs. It doesn't talk about just children. It talks about adults too. And then cultural beliefs has to do with behaving the right way. B. What does the word misfortune most likely mean in the passage? So we have to go find the word misfortune. So misfortune is right here. So let's read the sentence. In contrast, the black cadejo is said to hunt those who have bad intentions, leading them to misfortune. So think about what that means, right? In contrast. So the white cadejo, um, follows travelers, ensuring they reach the destination safely. In contrast, the black cadejo is said to hunt those who have bad intentions, leading them to misfortune. So this is going to be a negative thing, leading them to bad, almost like bad luck. So what does the word misfortune mean? Happiness? No, that's the white cadejo. Danger? That's a interesting option. Bad luck, opportunity. It's not opportunity because that's a good thing. So it's either going to be danger or bad luck. So when you have fortune, that means that you have luck. Misfortune means no luck. So the answer will be bad luck. How do the different versions of the legend contribute to its meaning? To show that people don't really believe in El Cadejo? To show that El Cadejo has always been a positive figure? To emphasize that the lessons of the story remain the same in different places? They suggest that only some countries believe in El Cadejo. So let's eliminate some of these. To show that people don't really believe? No, that's not why they mentioned that. How do the versions, they all have the same version, and that is to emphasize the lessons of the story remain the same. So there's the black cadejo and the white cadejo. Which of the following could be a theme of this passage? So the theme is, what is the significance of this passage? All travelers need protection from danger? I don't think that's what they're trying to mention or say. Like the lesson, right? Not all myths are the same in different cultures. I don't think that's the lesson. Legends are only meant to scare people. Okay. The choices we make determine our future. Yes. You'll get the white cadejo or the black cadejo. What lesson does the legend of El Cadejo teach? And how might it apply to real life situations? Use details from the text to support your response. So what are some of the lessons that you might be able to learn from this passage? This will be a short answer response. I need you to get at least 80% on this video. You will have, I'm going to be posting some questions. I'm going to be posting a short passage. And then you will have several questions. Some of them you will do with me, and some of them you'll do on your own. Some of you guys are doing this video on your own, and some of you are doing it with me. But you will have practice, right? There's gonna be practice of inferencing from text, and also inferencing meaning of words from text. Again, your retake is going to be on Thursday. I believe our field trip is on Friday. So, and this retake is going to cover, if you look at your Power School, It's going to cover context clues. And it's also going to cover inferencing from text. And the inferencing question is going to be similar to the ones you guys took on the interim. And it's something we're going to continue to work on. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to have a reteach on narrative writing. And if you did not get a mastery, if you did not get an S plus or higher, you're going to have to write a narrative for me. And I already have the sources for you. You're more than welcome to get the sources from me so you can start preparing. But again, the reteach won't happen until after T1 is over. Your grade for the narrative will be on T2. I'm going to start with your grade from the interim and then do a reteach. And then you'll do another narrative based on the sources that I provide to you. Okay? Again, I would like you to get 80% on this video. Otherwise, you have to do it again if you want to do the retake.